What is up? I'm Dixon. We're back with another 95X Live, and today we have the pleasure of being joined by Dexter and the Moonrocks. Gentlemen, how are you today?
We're good.
Great.
How are you?
Alive.
I know you're in Wisconsin right now, just finishing up soundtrack, so I appreciate you guys taking the time to do this. We're looking very forward to having you here in Syracuse, the Westcott Theater on Saturday, November 9th. Tickets are on sale now, 95x.com. And as of this morning, congratulations, because you guys are number 7 on the charts, which I think in 2024 is a pretty great feat for a band that plays rock music.
It's pretty
Crazy.
sick.
Thank you.
It's us and a bunch of bands that have historically been around for 15 years, which is pretty crazy. So
There's a lot of that, but I also think that there's not a whole lot of straight ahead rock bands in the rock music world these days, right? Like we're looking at a lot of holdovers from the early 2000s with quote unquote new metal. And not a whole lot of bands like yourselves or say like King Falcon or Rival Sons making their way to the airwaves. So for me, I think it's a huge win for rock music as a whole to have a band like yourselves having such success. So congratulations on all of it.
Thank you so much.
thank you. We appreciate that. Yeah, and large part of it
It's
is
been a
because
while.
it's nice to see y'all spinning us too and helping us and everybody else out there liking the song. So that's pretty cool and sick. So yeah.
I mean, for me, it's amazing to see a return to traditional American rock and roll and to have people respond to it in the way that they have. I mean, you guys broke 2021 with a song called Couch that I know got a lot of airplay, got a lot of viral moments, right, along the way with streaming metrics and everything else, which everybody's obsessed with in 2024. Was the band formed prior to, during, or as a result of the pandemic?
Before.
Yeah.
Yeah, sort of. This group was a year after.
I didn't exist.
About a year after.
Yeah.
We literally we met Fox right after we released that EP, that self-titled EP.
Literally on the day.
I
remember we practiced.
literally right after.
We had a practice, and it was like the second practice I'd ever done with them. And they're like, "Oh, we have an EP out," and I was like, "What the?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool." So yeah, but we've been Dexter and the Moonrocks. Our first show together as Dexter and the Moon, not as the four of us as Dexter and the Moonrocks, was December 9th at a place called the Armadillo Den in Austin, Texas. So of 2021. So yeah.
It was right after we met him too. We practiced with him maybe twice.
Yeah.
Then we went on the road for 3 days.
Yep. That was
Well,
crazy.
there's no better way to learn a bunch of songs and get comfortable than just jumping into the fire.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And drums is the easiest way you can do that, I feel like, because I don't have to remember any chords. Yeah, you just go out there and just play the drums, and they have to be like, all right, I guess this is the way we're playing the song now,
Yeah. In a lot of ways, I think a lot of music fans don't realize that it is the drummer that leads the band in most cases.
And
Yeah, it's him.
No,
It's him. He's the.
You are right. You are scientifically correct.
So ultimately, as somebody who's been in a lot of bands over the years that have very different names, I'm sure you've answered this a million times, but where does the name Dexter and the Moonrocks actually come from?
It is heavily influenced by marijuana.
Yeah.
That is precisely where it comes from.
Yeah.
There was a different name, and there was a huge change in the sound. We were going for initially we were more country, and we started to change. That was also influenced by marijuana quite a bit. And so we thought that there needed to be a name change, and Dexter and the Moonrocks just stuck.
I dig it. I mean, because is somebody who's probably old enough to be all of your dads. I lived through the big EDM rave explosion of the 90s. And during that time period, Moonrocks were a reference to ecstasy.
Oh, wow. It's actually Moonrocks it's basically take a nugget of marijuana and you roll it in wax, and then it's sticky, and then you roll that Sticky Nug in Keef. So it's like weed cubed.
Okay.
It's pretty spectacular, actually.
I'm gonna give it up for the younger generation for innovation with that because
Yeah, dude.
listen,
There's
man,
nowhere to go there.
and you guys are from Texas where it's still illegal, right? Like, or
Yeah.
that change.
Oh,
I don't do it at home. Wink, wink.
Got you.
we only do it where it's legal, and the government says it's okay because we respect the government.
Well, you got Canada, California, Colorado, New York. It's not necessarily legal, but it's like not illegal either. And then Massachusetts and Vermont. So as you're headed towards the Northeast on tour, just know that there's a much different attitude towards that up here in the
We
growth.
get it. We get it in Illinois tomorrow.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And speaking of Illinois, I also kind of want to say congratulations because you guys made it onto the bill of one of those Q101 Christmas shows, which are some of the biggest holiday shows in the country. So I think you guys are playing with Bush and Bishop Briggs, right?
no, we're playing with All American Rejects. No, they start with an M. The Maine. Thank you. The Maine. We're playing with All American Rejects, the Maine, and one other band who I cannot remember the name of right now. Bush is the day after us.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Andrew McMahon's the other artist on that night.
Yes, Andrew. Yes. You're right. Mm-hmm.
Very cool. So I've noticed in all the promo for the band that the word grunge is used a lot. The title of the EP is Western Space Grunge. I think that every review I've read of the record, somebody has mentioned grunge. So I assume that it was around a lot in your childhood, probably via your parents. So the question remains now, since Rolling Stone decided to name the big four of grunge as Pearl Jam, Nirvana, Soundgarden, Alice in Chains, how would you rank them, top to bottom, 1 through 4?
Oh, wow.
Can I get them again? Say them again?
Pearl Jam, Nirvana,
Soundgarden, Alice in Chains.
I'm going. I feel like all of ours are going to be different.
They are.
I would go Nirvana, Alice in Chains, Soundgarden, Pearl Jam.
I would go Alice.
That's also Ty's list, by the way.
I would go Alice in Chains, Nirvana, Soundgarden, Pearl Jam.
So here's my hot take. I'm Alice in Chains, Soundgarden, Nirvana, Pearl Jam. However, Nirvana had the biggest impact. I just think enjoyment-based, like listenership, Alice in Chains is like what it meant to me, and just Nirvana. Fuck, that's
Nirvana just has too many hooks for me not to put them number one.
They have too many hits.
Yeah.
They have too many hits, and they're the reason like grunge is where it is. And so, I mean, they made it. Basically, I'm gonna say that. And so
and I think Nirvana was more of like a true grunge band, where I think like when you look at the comparisons, especially living through it at the time, like everybody kept saying that like, oh, Soundgarden's the new Black Sabbath, and Alice in Chains is like this new version of some other classic band. Where like nobody could really put their finger on Nirvana because everything that influenced them, from like weird punk rock bands like Flipper or Fugazi, weren't part of like the mainstream culture. So they were taking something that was very punk rock and making it accessible to the kids in the suburbs. So I agree. I think Nirvana is number 1, but all 5 of us have put Pearl Jam last, just for the record.
Yeah.
Still like them.
Love Pearl Jam. They are, to me, Pearl Jam is closer to Creed than I believe that. I believe Pearl Jam.
I don't care. I'm not a fan really, but thanks.
I think they are. And I think of Pearl Jam as dad rock, and maybe that's because
it heavily influenced those bands.
It really did. And so maybe that's why I think of Pearl Jam like that, but also just there's
also, I think, a cutoff for Pearl Jam, right? Like the first 2 albums, you can't really mess with, right? Like Vitology was good, but then there's the Jack Irons influence, which in my opinion, ruined Pearl Jam for a very long time. And then you get into like the modern era of Pearl Jam, where it's just that one tempo, and Eddie's mad about something, but you can't really tell what it is, but he's mad. So for me, it's just like, that's why they're in last place. They had 2 great albums, and granted, Nirvana only had 2 great albums too, but extenuating circumstances, right? Like, I imagine kind of like what Nirvana would sound like had that not happened, right? Like one of life's great curiosities. Do you guys have any inkling as to how that may have progressed in your mind?
I think they just would have become more and more of themselves.
Who?
Nirvana.
I think Kurt was very close to going solo.
Dave
and,
left
and I
it.
think the Foo Fighters would have happened regardless.
Yeah, I think Dave would have like, and I don't think it would have been like I hate it. It was kind of like how Dave left Queens of the Stone Age, where it wasn't like I hate, like this sucks, I hate this, and they left on bad terms. It was just kind of like I'm gonna go do this other thing that I've been working on, and yeah, I think it inevitably would have been, and then we would have gotten more beans by Kurt Cobain.
We got a lot
Oh.
of weird stuff.
Weird stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I know at one point in one of the documentaries, like I don't remember if it was Kurt and Courtney or if it was like soaked in bleach, but they had mentioned him doing like a full-on Vaseline's tribute album, which I guess was something that was started. So I'm always hoping that at some point that leaks out because, like, Molly's Lips obviously got the recorded version and everything else, but I would love to hear some of the other stuff they did live.
Oh, absolutely. That would be sick.
That being said, is there anything in your set or has there been a cover along the way that you guys really enjoy playing or maybe making your own in that set for the live set, which we've got coming up in Syracuse, November 9th?
We've never done a Nirvana cover, maybe because it would feel a little too on the nose.
Yeah.
But we do like some of that great 90s, rock grunge, whatever you want to call it. We do cover some of that stuff. Have to come to a show to see what though.
November
Hey,
9th, here.
November 9th. Yeah, that way. ABC, baby, always closing.
November 9th, Westcott Theater. Tickets on sale. Just go to 95x.com. It's part of your Eastern Space Grunge tour, which I assume is based on the geography of the tour. Are you guys, I'm going to give you some credit, being from Texas, coming to the Northeast during what is early winter up here. You're probably going to be spared because global warming and everything has kind of ruined winter for us. We haven't really had one for a few years, but fingers crossed that we don't encounter typical Syracuse weather early in November for you.
Dude, I forgot a hoodie, man.
Yeah.
I forgot a hoodie or a jacket of any sorts because it's so nice back at home right now.
It's 45 degrees here, and he was like, I don't have a
I
jacket.
got off the plane last night, like, oh, it's actually frigid.
Yeah.
But we love the Northeast. The Northeast is probably the Northeast and the Southeast are probably our two favorite places to play.
Have you guys
They're
rolled through
awesome.
Syracuse before?
No,
Never.
we've been to Buffalo and we've been to New York City, but we have not been to Syracuse.
All right. Well, this will be like a nice welcome to Syracuse party where you get an open invitation to come back whenever you're on the road. So looking forward to it. Again, congratulations so much on the success of Sad in Carolina, the EP, and the success of this tour. I mean, you guys, for a young band, are selling tickets like hotcakes, for lack of a better comparison. I mean, you guys are, in my opinion, single-handedly bringing rock back to the masses, and I applaud you for it. Congratulations. I look forward to seeing you guys November 9th.
Oh, yeah.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
that
man.
means
We
a lot.
appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Take care, guys. We'll see you soon.